So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at a brand new game from Multi-Man Publishing, MMP, and it's called A Victory Awaits, Operation Barbarossa 1941. So, if you don't know, this game's designed by Tetsuya Nakamura, and he has done a number of war games, larger Hex and Counter war games, but I think he's most famous for his, I think it's called A Victory Denied and A Victory Spoiled, I believe, are the two. They're the two red box East Front games from MMP. This is the third one in that series, A Victory Awaits. However, this is a prequel to those, so to speak. This is the very first opening weeks and months of Barbarossa. It's 1941. The other ones, it's the Drive on Moscow, and I believe Stalingrad, but I could be wrong about that. But we've never played any of those, but those have been around for a long time, relatively speaking, and there's certain people out there, Kai Jensen, for example, who really loves those, and that's kind of like a stamp of authority on those. And I don't know, it's a system that we've not played in, and so when they said, hey, we've got this latest one, it's you know, early East Front War, and we've got it at WBC for a very reasonable price, we just had to pick it up. So this is one that we will definitely dive into and give it a go. So this is designed as a two-player game, but there's no reason you can't solo this. They've listed it as solitaire suitability is high, but it's a big game. It's a 3-mapper. It's really like 2.5, but a big game about, like we said, opening of Barbarossa. So my table's not yet big enough for this, but one day it will be. But I just want to be able to dive into this and kind of take a look at what we've got going on and why the system kind of is as loved and respected as it is. Looks like on opening the box we have a very slight correction to the map. On the border between Smolensk and Kiev, scenario maps the following, overwritten by the deployment areas. Okay, so I think there's supposed to be a border here that looks like it was overwritten by one side when it should have a black border. So that's just to let you know, hey, this black line continues here. That's not that big of a deal to me. I probably would have figured that out, but nice of them to clarify. So, let us take a look at the rule book, which is very light, very small, all things considered. So we do have a full color, very large, very nice rule book. Multiplayer, campaign play, individual scenarios. So if we take out all of the scenarios, you're looking at an 11-page rulebook. These are optional rules and special rules to remember, but that's some dense text, I guess, but pictorial examples of combat and activation, this is 1 page of rules, right? If we take the pictures out, this looks extremely and eminently playable. I hope that's an extremely good sign that this is very easy to pick up and dive on into, because I think this is one of those systems that's both big, but also accessible, which we're always looking for, because that helps people to kind of dive into some meatier war games, and hopefully kind of gets them more settled into the hobby. So we have a single-played card here, which has our CRT on it, and a sequence of play, and on the back our terrain effects chart. Might be photocopying that if there's not another one in here. Nope. Okay. We have our campaign track for the campaign turns. This is dual-sided, and on the back we have the command chits that I presume go into a cup. Looks like it might be a chip pull activation, and then some holding boxes for our available and eliminated units. Okay, here's one of the maps, and we will look at those here in a second. We have another map, another counter sheet. So we have another one of these. Smolensk scenario turn track, Leningrad scenario turn track. This was the Kiev scenario turn track. So lots of different scenarios in this game and custom turn tracks for those, which is nice. Another map. Oh, perfect. That's what we were looking for. So we do have a single blue D6. Enjoy. All right, let's get the box out of the way. But we do have another play aid. That's what we were looking for. I'm so glad that's in here. So you can either set it up and just have these kind of under your plexi so you can see both, or each player kind of holds one and they can flip it as they want. But these are two identical play aids. That's excellent. Very happy about that. So we'll have a look at the counter sheets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll look at all those nice maps. So, as you might imagine, lots and lots of red. So we've got here lots of red, and these are also divided up into these different colors, which are the formations, I would presume, within those colors. And on the back of those we have reduced versions of those. So if you look here, this is a 2-4 level unit, and on the back that is a 1-4 unit. And then these are little HQ units. Not sure if that's what's used for activation, one of those two, where you put those chits into a cup. Lots of German units, lots more Russian units. And again, so we've got some out-of-command markers. Are these Romanian units? These may well be Romanian units that you're going to use on the southern front. I presume victory markers. These are markers that have all the Russian cities on them, like Kiev. And there's all different hexes noted on them. You've got to take all the Kiev hexes, I would presume. Lots of Russian armor units. Mostly these are like, is it T-26s, I think? A couple of T-34s, KV-1s, things like that. And then down here, all these half as many German armor units, many of which are Panzer 38Ts, Panzer 4s, there's some Hanemags, and that's mostly what's in there. And the one little Romanian armor unit, just for fun there. Again, most of these are dual-sided with a reduced side on them. Now I'm going to punch some of these. Ooh. Ooh. These ones here, because these are quite small counters. And those have fairly substantial nubs on them. So I will be punching all of these very carefully, and then I will be clipping all of them. We will get those kind of bagged and sorted out. Some of them, let's see if I'm correct about that. We will double check. It looks like none of them have kind of setup hexes on them that I can see. So we'll just have to follow the setup guides on those. But that's the counters. Lots and lots of counters. 3 sheets of counters. So then we're going to take a look at the maps. We've got two 22 by 34s and one 24 by 32. One of them was a smaller size, but I don't know. So this is a 22 by 34. This is a normal standard sized map. And I think this is map. Do they have map B on it? I think this is the middle one. I think there's one that goes on top of it and one that goes below it. So this is Smolensk on one side. You got Königsberg up here. So if we look at the Leningrad map, Riga, Königsberg, Leningrad, this is going to go above it, up here. And then down here, we're going to stick this map, which I have upside down, I believe. Yeah. We have the Kiev, and then down kind of off map is Crimea, got Odessa right here. So you can play all 3 of these maps together, but they've got these dividing lines between the different army groups, and you can just play one of these maps. Again, they have the separate play aids for each one of those so that they can be playable. You could play it as kind of basically a mini monster game, but you can also just play it fairly normally. This might be a game that you could divide up and do that way and play it lots of players. That might be an interesting exercise to do. But one thing that I wanted to call out is without being derogatory, MMP gets a lot of flack with the maps that they make sometimes, where it's the same ASL style that they've had for the last 40 years. But massive kudos for having a different color palette, different style on it, something that's a little bit maybe more pleasing to the eye, a little bit appealing. The colors aren't garish, they're a bit more muted. I really like them, and every single hex has a hex number on it, and those hex numbers are both very bold, but also, I don't think, detract from the map itself. And so I'm really appreciative of the map work and artwork that they've done. Everything looks to be very clear and very clean, even from these kind of the starting boxes where you're going to line up your panzer groups and your defending Soviet armies. Those have very clear setup boxes, and I presume it's your 11th Army you can set up any way you want within this 11th Army box, or the one down here as well. And so you get a little bit of freedom in the setup, and then you've got to go out and do it. I get a little bit of feeling like I kind of did from the Dark Valley, but I think this is on a slightly even larger scale than that. That was 2 maps, but you know, portrait. So one was all of this, and the other one was kind of even further east towards Moscow and beyond. So I'm very interested to play this. I don't know if we're going to play all 3 maps. That seems unlikely at the moment. My table's physically not large enough for all of that, but hopefully that'll change in the future. But there's going to be a good level of detail here from the tactical level of the terrain and the units that you're using. There's a lot to fight through and fight with in this. So very excited to play this, but I just wanted to share with you what you get in this box. A Victory Awaits from MMP. If you've not played any of these, this is what you're getting. Big Hex and Counter war game. We'll be very curious to see how this plays, but I have a lot of expectations for this one, I really do. So appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.